we'll be heading to the next course, so the shoe design and making course. It's going to be presented by Addicus, which is a Schola alumni first, but then he did many other things. He has worked for Stefano Bemer, which is a bespoke shoemaker that's renowned worldwide, and then he founded his own brand. So I'm sure he's got plenty of things to tell us. So go ahead, Addicus. Hi.
Thank you. Hi. Yeah, so I will be the teacher for the shoe design and making summer course. It's 6 weeks, 3 to 4 hours a day. And the goal of this course is to, one, cover technical shoemaking techniques and the process of physically making the shoe, but more importantly, realizing an idea. So conceptualizing, in this case, we'll usually start with a ballerina or a moccasin style. They're quite versatile models in the sense of how ideas can transform or take shape through the design process. But as you'll come to find, in the 6-week course, there's a lot of ground to cover. So we'll start with kind of some mood boards and inspiration and ideas, see how that translates to, selecting lasts, selecting materials, and then again, the technical building of the shoe all the way to a finished sample product that can be realized. In the past classes, we've had a lot of great designs. If it's moccasin, like loafers, or hardware included, different shaped heels. But again, the main important, or the objective of this course is to see how linear the process is and how design and decision makings take shape through these different stages. That typically starts with the last, which is the wooden shape of the foot. Size can influence what kind of material, what kind of last you're working with, the shape of the toe, the height of the heel. So again, the beginning, probably the first week or two, we'll talk about kind of visions and what we're looking to kind of realize in terms of the sample. And then from there, kind of it dominoes and builds off of one another. But that's the first rule of thumb in shoemaking, is the last comes first. So in this class, we'll take a trip to the last factory, Formificio, which is in Scandici, and it's pretty moving in the sense of, you consider if every brand in the world is, making shoes, that they're using lasts, and Formificio is that last factory. So it's very inspiring. It can be overwhelming if you just show up and think that you'll be inspired and select a last, but we'll prepare ourselves well for that field trip. And then from there, we'll go into drafting patterns on these wooden forms. So that'll be paper cut patterns, things like this. You have a lot of industrial people who are doing CAD modeling. We won't touch on the CAD modeling or digital design, but designing specifically on the last. So when we arrive at a design decision, then we'll go into material selection, how that will affect the construction of the shoe, how that will influence the wear, the comfort, if it's a softer leather or harder leather, reinforcements, things like this, and then get into sewing. So we'll prep leather, we'll cut leather, skiving, which is a step in the upper process, which is the upper is the leather before it's stretched around the wooden form, and then stitch them together. So it will be a pretty rigorous course, considering that we'll go from design to a finished pair of shoes, but be in good hands. Perfect.
Thank you, Addicus. I don't know if there's anyone that has any question. So I was wondering if students are going to be doing also shoes with a heel. Is a heel something, because I know that maybe to attach a heel, you need maybe an industrial process. So
Correct. So the specifically heels, as in like stilettos and things like this, we don't really touch on, but again, that can be a process, like a conversation that's had. But the main goal of this course is, to prepare students and people attending the course to have a conceptual understanding of going from each different step of an idea to a mock-up to a finished product. Most cases, I think above 3 or 4 centimeters, you'd need an industrial machine to press in these high heels. But most of the time you can build those heels from leather below 3 centimeters.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering, that's a bit more complex for that, but yeah. The most is going to be about making, if I'm correct, Addicus.
Right. It's mostly a making course, but obviously we need to design a shoe or have a concept of design going into the making. So as the hours get kind of solidified, I probably would have students come with kind of an idea or some inspiration or mood boards, but that would probably be the first week, if not first few days of class, is kind of researching and drawing inspiration and talk about elements that we need to for sure have an understanding of before we can go to order last, before we can start making a pattern. So yeah, it would definitely be more making.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, perfect. So in case of students that have any previous experience with maybe fashion design, accessories design, this is also your chance, because yeah, there's a bit of design, but there's a lot of making. I mean, you don't need any pre-requirement. I just said that in case you've done fashion design or accessories design, it's a nice way for you to translate all of that knowledge into something bit more tangible, a bit more material, a bit more real, maybe. But no, you don't need any previous experience. No.
Yeah, it's again, no experience needed in terms of fashion background. Also, the technical shoemaking side of things can be pretty intense, but we've designed it in a way that it's a lot less intimidating of a process.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah. One last question that we'll add to the jewelry making course. So they just asked if you get to work on both men and women's shoes, and yeah. Yeah,
I mean, in theory that depends on the last and what comes across as feminine, but or masculine, but in the sense of if you mean high heels and classic dress shoes, we're leaning away from high heels again, but the loafer and the ballerina models can be interpreted for both.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you very much, Lapo. If you had any questions that maybe we didn't have time to answer, feel free to email us. I'll forward them to Addicus, so he's going to tell us a bit more for what concerns technical details. So we'll head on to the jewelry making course.